Welcome to a high-level global intelligence briefing for the month of August 1721. Our primary source of intelligence today comes from the raw, unfiltered dispatches printed in the American Weekly Mercury. Despite its colonial origin, this document captures a world engulfed in violent geopolitical and economic shifts. We are examining this text to identify the acute crises threatening state stability and global commerce at this exact moment in history. Headline 1. A massive Russian military escalation is currently devastating Northern Europe. Headline 2. Severe state-sponsored extortion and religious oppression are triggering a domestic crisis in the Palatinate. Headline 3. The booming global supply chain is under threat from heavily armed corsairs and catastrophic maritime disasters. This single newspaper functions as a map of the 18th century global friction points that defined the modern era. We begin in the Baltic Sea to analyze the massive military mobilization by the Muscovites, the Russian forces. Earlier intelligence from London suggested the Muscovite fleet would not dare engage the combined British and Swedish naval squadrons. That assessment was incorrect. Breaking updates confirm the Muscovites have bypassed defenses and made another descent into Sweden. The dispatches report extreme brutality. Russian forces are ravaging the country, spoiling the mines and laying waste with fire and sword. The human cost on the ground is stark. The invaders are executing any citizen found in arms. While these scorched earth tactics continue, the Russian Tsar is simultaneously maneuvering in the diplomatic theater. The Tsar has proposed a strategic union between his youngest daughter and the Duke of Holstein. This marriage proposal serves as a soft power tool, attempting to consolidate Russian influence in Western Europe through dynastic ties. These reports from 1721 illustrate how emerging empires utilized a specific duality: frontline violence operating in tandem with calculated diplomatic expansion. We pivot south to Mannheim and Spiers, where dispatches reveal a severe crisis of domestic policy and civil unrest. The local elector is aggressively constructing a massive, sprawling new seat of power. This architectural grandeur is being built through crushing taxation and the forced labor of local subjects. The economic reality is dire. The workforce is taxed so heavily that they can hardly get bread for themselves and their families. Beyond this economic extraction, the state is also practicing systemic religious persecution. The Protestant population, referred to as the Reformed, is facing intense oppression following the publication of strictly enforced electoral mandates. This targeted oppression is intentional, reducing the population to beggary or forcing families into permanent exile. The victim's final recourse is a desperate appeal for high-level political intervention from the evangelic body at Ratisbon. This dispatch illustrates the mechanics of 18th century absolutism, a system where the peasant class functions as a resource for architectural vanity and ideological conformity. Moving to the Global Economic Desk, we turn to the volatile state of oceanic trade. Trade volumes are currently surging, driven by a massive explosion in the global textile market. This surge follows specific British legislation, notably the recent passage of the Calico Bill. To understand the scale of this commerce, consider that over 19,276 pieces of fabric were exported to international markets in just a few weeks. This lucrative economic boom exists alongside the violent risk of transporting goods across the Mediterranean. Maritime intelligence from Rotterdam reports an unprovoked ambush by an Algerian ship of 22 guns upon a Dutch merchant vessel. A grueling, hours-long artillery engagement followed, which only ended when a sudden, violent wind finally interrupted the battle. While the Dutch crew survived, the ship was abandoned at sea, completely stripped of its sails and masts by the attack. In the Western Atlantic, commerce faces a different yet equally deadly threat: catastrophic structural failure. Reports from New York describe a life-or-death situation aboard the ship Haywood Galley, inbound from Jamaica. 12 days before reaching land, the vessel sprang a severe, uncontrollable leak. To keep the vessel afloat, the crew was forced into pumping continually day and night. Upon entering the harbor, the captain was forced to intentionally run the ship aground to prevent it from sinking. These harrowing accounts illustrate the crushing power of the ocean that constantly threatened these fragile wooden trade vessels. The 18th century supply chain was a high-stakes gamble, balancing massive profits against the kinetic realities of pirate artillery and merciless weather. We can now view the individual regional crises of August 1721 as a single, connected ecosystem. It is a world where ambitious monarchs expand their borders and build extravagant palaces, while commoners bear the physical and economic costs. These human costs span from the scorched earth battlefields of Sweden to the flooded decks of the Haywood Galley. These archived newspaper pages provide the immediate records of that era's instability. Documents like the Mercury are raw accounts of human survival in an unforgiving, rapidly globalizing world.
The Daily Dispatch, history in print. No modern gloss, no modern hint, just black